longer. But what happened was they had either agents going in, undercover agents that they were FBI agents that were going in provoking these guys, saying, hey, we'll get you the bomb, we'll get you the supplies, we'll get you the detonators. Or they had guys that they had already busted on something else and saying, hey, we want you to go find people and bring them to us. They created 17 separate plots. I know you don't want to believe that.
When I was a kid, all the people with conspiracy theories were hippies who smoked too much weed. And now it's like, which I find an unmanly, I'm not the most masculine person in the world, and your fans have let me know just how effeminate I am, but that's unmanly, those hippies with all their conspiracy theories about the government. And the only thing about, and I find it unmanly to be so conspiracy oriented. But the thing is about you people, you don't smoke weed, you guys play with guns. So that's what makes you guys dangerous, and like you scare people like regular normal Americans. So I just thought you should just know that.
Okay. Well, thanks for letting us know that. I also want to point you to a New York Times article, Terrorist Plots Hatched by the FBI, which also talks about all that too. So it's in the New York Times, not just InfoWars.
I'm glad that you've gotten down to the bottom of the FBI as the ones that are like terrorizing Americans. I just, you know, I'm just.
So you think that's okay that the FBI could that they set up terror plots?
I don't have any of this information in front of me, and I don't believe your version of what you're saying. So you can't just like ask me what I feel about an article that you've read that I have no access to and haven't read, and you know you can't like really like throw that on me and expect me to have an answer. But you can say like I'm part of the conspiracy, whatever. I don't care. But
I'm not saying you're part of a conspiracy. I'm just trying to educate you, brother. That's all I'm trying to do.
Don't believe me. I have my IQ is about 130. Well, it depends on what internet I take it on, but I'm about 130. So my IQ is I'm pretty sharp. Believe me, and you can try to educate me, but I'm very good at doing that myself.
Does your high IQ preclude you from looking at different scenarios that might involve the FBI?
You can give me scenarios, but you also tell me that Vin Diesel's in a movie, and I already know the movie sucks because Vin Diesel's in it. So when you come up with like, oh, read this conspiracy theory, it's from InfoWars. I'm like, it's from Alex Jones. Like,
yeah, New York Times.
Garbage. You can't read it.
Here's the Washington Post. Anti-terror task force warned of Tamerlan Zarnov's long trip to Russia. This was the trip that the Russians actually called the United States about and said, hey, why is this guy getting in and out of our country under an assumed name? There it is right there.
I'm like, listen, I'm not saying that they handled this perfectly, but what are you going to do? Crawl up his ass with a microscope because he went to Russia? I'm not, listen, I'm against, but see, that's the thing. You're trying to make it sound like he's not the guy who blew up the bombs, but he had pictures of him doing it. But of course, your pictures say something totally different.
They say they have pictures of them carrying backpacks. They have not shown us pictures of them dropping the bombs. Even the governor of Massachusetts, Deval Patrick, one second, when asked, did he see the video? He said, no, it was described to me by the FBI.
You know, it's all going to come out. Like they're not going to give you everything. It'll come out in court. You'll see.
Yeah, just like the security cameras at Oklahoma City.
I live in a great place. I live in America. I love my country. I have to deal with some left-wing nudniks, and I have to deal with some of you people who run your mouth. And it's okay. I live in a great American place. I love my country. I'm a patriot. I love America, even though people act like they are patriotic and they're not. So we'll have to put up with you people. I really wish that the people who follow you and pay money to watch your would get mental help, because it's like their mental illness is like a rash, and Alex Jones is the hand that's scratching it. So they're just feeding into they're being unwell with this.
So being patriotic is bowing down to the government, whatever they wish. If they want to come to your house and say,
he's not saying the government's trying to kill me and coming with every cockamamie excuse and conspiracy theory. Being paranoid and ridiculous is not a patriotic act. And I'm not one of those people. You guys are paranoid and you're ridiculous. So whatever. Send your hate,
I'm backing it all up right here.
I'm not bowing to anyone. I don't know who you think I'm bowing to, but I don't bow to anybody.
Well, you're saying you're patriotic and we're not, so I'm trying to find out why you're saying that.
You guys are more interested in finding out what's wrong with everything, and you guys are more interested in perpetuating this paranoia. It's a secondary gain.
Hey, if the FBI is planning and taking part in terror plots, I would like to know that.
You guys feel like you are about,
hey, guess what? My uncle was an FBI agent. I could sit there and claim that I have a dog in the fight too.
It's like when people say the operation, we're saving children from being murdered. Like, you know, it's like you get a little over the top. It's not really, the abortions aren't really saving babies. It's not like they're slaughtering like infants that are toddlers walking around. So it's like, you guys, you put yourself up as these noble, heroic men, and you're just so great. You're the only ones who understand the Constitution. And all the people I talk to are either really kind of stupid or they're mentally unstable. And anyone else is
reading
complicit making
articles, mentally unstable. You're right.
Yes. And you know who's the big one? Is that Alex Jones. He's the guy who's the most unstable. But he's like Hitler with a little softer version of it.
We might edit just that little part out that you said. That's pretty ridiculous.
He's like crazy.
Boston Marathon bombs. Tamerlan Zarnoff interviewed by the FBI in 2011. Yet they put his picture on.
Know that I think he's insane and that he's Hitlerian. You can't let him know that.
Sure, I'm sure he's going to watch this interview.
Well, Alex Jones can kiss my in Macy's window. And you can bleep that, but I think is okay to say. So
yeah, that's okay to say. Hey, what do you think about what do you think about Bill Maher coming out and saying it was a police state in Boston? He's a pretty liberal guy.
Bill Maher is another one who like sticks his foot in his mouth when he gets a little full of his rhetoric and he goes too far. Okay. So he said that we were cowardly for dropping bombs on Al Qaeda in Afghanistan back then when he got brought there, and I thought that was kind of lame. If I wear a helmet to battle, am I being a coward because I'm protecting myself? You drop a bomb on somebody, that's a smart way to fight a war.
If you carry around a gun, though, does that make you crazy? Why does carrying around a gun make you crazy? Some people are crazy and shouldn't carry guns, dude. Some people shouldn't be driving around. Some people should not be driving cars because they're irresponsible or they're getting drunk or something. Not everybody. Instruments can kill people. You have to be super responsible to have one of those. You can't just let it's like dumbass. Well, who gets to decide who's responsible? You?
Well, no. Listen, but yes, somebody's got to set a standard.
Okay.
And it's a little bit the standard's way too loose. I'm saying if you want own a gun, you should be a deputy. You should go through training and be responsible and not just be some yahoo who likes to get drunk and shoot your gun in the air, which I've done, by the way. I'm a hick. I'm from upstate New York. We grew up with a gun in the house. I've shot guns. I love guns, but I don't love them enough that I think that everybody should be able to slaughtering people. And, there's just a limit to what, I think. I love guns, but who gives a crap if what I like?
All right.
I used to really like cocaine. I'm glad that's not legal. So there you go.
Speaking of bombs, the World Trade Center, do you remember the World Trade Center bombing in '93?
Oh, yeah, I totally remember that.
Yeah.
And what are you going to say? That was a government conspiracy too?
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm actually going to let Dan Rather say it. Let's roll the clip.
I don't Dan Rather. Who gives a crap?
Last winter, the FBI was praised for its speed in cracking the case of the World Trade Center bombing and bringing 4 suspects to trial. Now, there is some evidence that the FBI may have known of the plot in advance through an informant and might even have stopped the bombing that killed 6 people. Correspondent Jacqueline Adams has the story.
FBI agents might have been able to prevent last February's deadly explosion at New York's World Trade Center. They discussed secretly substituting harmless powder for the explosives, but they didn't, according to the FBI's own informant, Emad Salem. Unbeknownst to the FBI at the time, Salem recorded many of his conversations with his handlers.
I'm holding 903 pages of transcripts.
You're talking about Salem. So Salem was this informant.
Do you only use the news? Do you only quote the news when you agree with them? Because then everything else is like conspiracy and the news is like...
No, because this only came out 1 or 2 times in the news and then it was quickly quieted down, just like the stuff that went on with the underwear bomber. We can get into that if you want to. But I want to read you a couple things.
There's a book by Carl Sagan called The Demon Haunted World, and it talks about people with their kooky ideas. And there's also a book I read that had your buddy there, Alex Jones, in it, about all these people that think like the world is run by 12 people in a dark room and somewhere underground.
Yeah,
and,
actually, I think that just came out in a Rolling Stone magazine. Matt Taibbi wrote that, and he actually said, we're right, it is a giant conspiracy with the financial games. But here,
so Rolling Stone's not the last word on the truth either.
I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying what other people are saying. Frustrated, Salem told one FBI agent, you were informed, everything is ready. And this is an article, not by us, it's from the online journal, Why the FBI Got Away with the First World Trade Center Bombing. I'll send you all these, don't worry. You were informed, everything is ready. The day and the time, book, lock them up, that's it. That's why I feel so bad. This is what he's saying on tapes to the FBI. Another tape revealed Salem asking an FBI agent, do you deny your supervisor is the main reason of the bombing of the World Trade Center? The agent did not deny Salem's charge. Shortly after the bombing, FBI agent Nancy Floyd confided in Salam that her supervisors botched the case. I felt that the people on the squad, that they didn't have a clue how to operate things, that the supervisors didn't know what was going on, and they didn't take the time to learn the history. Basically, what they did was provide a van, explosives, and a detonator to these guys to go drive into the World Trade Center, saying it was going to be fake and they were going to stop them, but they wanted to bust this network up. This is their MO, and this is what they do time and time again. And I'm sorry you can't see that, and you don't like it when people ask questions. And just because you...
Listen, I don't mind people asking questions. It's when they ask retarded questions, you get retarded answers, and that's what you get. So that's where you ask, and there you go. So
he asked a question if it was a false flag. He asked him straight up. He didn't try to hide it with anything.
It's kind of like when people get too into Jesus or too into Allah or whatever, or too into AA, they just become like, they become stage 2 in their personal growth. And it's going to take a lot of like time and critical thinking for you guys to work out of your, and most of you don't have a prayer. You guys are done. You guys can stay in a stage 2 state of mind, and you can go look that up what that is. Okay. But that's where you guys suffer from. I'm dealing with someone